Cat.
I just clicked the recording and we're ready to go. We're not gonna even.
Time crunch.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a time crunch, but you know the Cads are here to talk about Celestial Guardians. TCG Pocket doesn't stop. You know, we were gonna have a whole video dedicated to how's the meta settling out? You know, after like a month or so, we can't even wait a month. Every month they're just releasing new stuff.
They just keep spewing. It's just so fast.
I'm gonna be honest. I've kept the grind on the single player stuff, but my multiplayer game has gone shot down the pipe.
Yeah, I get it.
But I know with you, it's kind of been the opposite. You've just been going in on multiplayer, so you wanna...
So yeah, I'll just say I just wanted to do this one time. I was like, you know what? Everyone's using Darkrai Giratina. This shit is gay as hell. I'm gonna try to all season try to figure out how to counter them. And eventually I got to Gyarados, but I was using Gyarados before everybody was like, we should use Gyarados with Manaphy instead of Palkia. I was way ahead of that. I was like, dude, Gyarados is always the GOAT. What are we doing? And I was slightly tweaking, and then I just went through the ups and downs because I wanted to see if it was possible to get top 100. The best I did was 146. And then the season ended, and I was at 640.
Wait, the season ended?
Yeah, it's a one. Just like how
so every time a new set comes out, the season's just over. It's just gonna be a month. That's crazy.
It's 1 month season. That's why I was like, there was a certain point where I was like, all right, I just got into Master Ball, and I was top 2,000. And I was like, wait, that just tells me that a lot of people didn't grind in the beginning, and they started doing it on the back end. So, yeah, I just decided to go full throttle and played literally probably a freaking.
I mean, you've been busy too. It's not like you just have been dedicating all the time.
No, that's why it was hard. I was on I was taking I had to go on a trip. I had to go to some weddings. It was just a lot. So I was like, all right, on plane rides or car rides, I'm just gonna whip this out and just see what I can do. And yeah, we ended up top 1,000, baby. Got nice. Gyarados, full Gyarados, a little bit of Meowscarada because Meowscarada was pretty dirty with Arceus and Carnivine. Yeah, Arceus, Carnivine, that whole little trio. That was pretty good, but I feel like Gyarados was just the most consistent thing that could stop Darkrai Giratina. Darkrai Giratina was just too gay.
And do you know what's what top 100's doing? Is it this? It's just the same kind of combinations of teams.
Top 100 is literally just Darkrai Giratina and Gyarados.
Yeah. All right.
Because eventually everybody started using Gyarados because it had a slight advantage over Dark Giratina.
Not to go too deep into that stuff because we have our whole topic and stuff.
Yep,
but the what was your general experience getting there? Was it just those meta decks? Was it really unfun? Just sweaty?
Okay, I'm gonna this is why I'm gonna tell you, I got the top 1,000 emblem. I got I screenshotted the top 150.
Wow.
Which I guess we'll put up.
But I will never do this again. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I know there's some theories going around, but after playing for so many games, and I think I probably had to hit 1,000 games, legit, I swear to God, just to freaking be plus whatever you need to be.
I haven't even looked at your overall.
Yeah, I'm at 3,800 wins or something crazy. Yeah. So let me tell you why I would never do this again. The game, I think there's a similarity in this rank system to a game like Clash of Clans, and my brother played that a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Where what happens is there's an algorithm in the game, right? So if you're winning, you'll go on a crazy winning streak. If you lose, especially with an inconsistent deck like Gyarados, if you don't draw Gyarados or you don't get Manaphy out, whatever it is, you legit will lose and actually go first, because of disadvantage. You'll go first and get no hands, I swear, 8 games in a row. So you'll go plus 10, oh, I'm on a winning streak.
So
and
it's
then
not true RNG. It's the algorithms tweaking stuff.
And I'll say this in case anybody else isn't a believer of this. Like I played enough games. There was like what made me actually start winning was me realizing when I was on the losing algorithm and I had to get off. I was like, you can't bulldoze this unless you're using Dark Eye Giratina, where you have a consistent hand every freaking game, turn one. If you're using something that requires any evolutions, any RNG, the game realizes to the point where you can switch your team and you'll just fight all counters to your new team. Like it's just like I'm like, who the fuck uses Gallade and Hitmonlee anymore? Like, and it was like only Hitmonlee like destroys Magikarp, so it's like legit like 4 or 5 games of Hitmonlee and Gallade, and then you switch to like your own version of like a Meowscarada or something, and then they'll just go back to like the meta decks, and then you're just like, this is gay again. So I would just never do that again. I did it just to say I did it, but like I feel like a tournament is a true RNG. Like
So you're open to do more of that stuff.
I'll do tournaments. Okay. I got the emblem just to say I did it, but I will never do that again. Like it was excruciating.
All right. It definitely gives you street cred because we're about to do a top 10 right now for the new set, Celestial Guardians. Cred. So again, I am the host tonight. The really Giovann V will be the star of the show. I'll just kind of be steering the ship here. Are you going in any particular order? Do you have like a definitive like best you want to talk about at the end?
Yeah, I'll end with the best.
Okay.
Right, I think everything else is kind of just like
it is what it is. Situation.
It is what it is. Like top 7, I would say, is like all you can order them however you want.
Okay.
Top 3 is pretty obvious.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hear it.
Yes, let's go. First one, I'll go Decidueye EX.
Yep.
All right. So this is the top 10. This is top 10 cards that we believe. I'm sure you'll probably see similar stuff on your list that you made. Is that this is top 10 stuff of the completely new set. And yeah, I mean, let's go into it. So this is all obviously, it's all speculation because it's literally been like
a day,
not even a day. So this is all thought. This is all theory crafting.
This is recorded on on Wednesday for April 30th.
So this is launch day. So there's actually been no tournaments. Like this is all theory, but after you play enough games, you start realizing like certain things are gonna stick and certain things are gonna suck. Especially with how the meta develops, and I will give them credit. They threw a lot of different things,
they sure
mechanics, did. And I love that. I love that.
Can I just real quick say when I was going through like the stuff, just so I had like, just so I could have this conversation with you, I actually was like, okay, I'll pull 10. And by the time I was done, I had like 25 cards.
Yeah.
So, here we are. They this is definitely a loaded set, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, it's they did a great job, and I think keeping the game fresh is doing exactly what they just did, which is not just let's make the next best EX. Let's actually make other things combat, the meta, right? So. First, ironically, we're talking about an EX first, but Decidueye EX, why is this good? Why is this nasty? This is because Stage 2 Pokemon are now good. Before, they were very inconsistent. There was Pokemon Communications, there was Iono, that made the hands a little easier, but it was still hard. And this is a little bit of foreshadowing, but every Stage 2 got a major buff. So the kind of secret sauce here with a really good Stage 2 is, one, does it have enough health and damage that it can cause chaos? Because it is going to be explosive and it can come out quick. And 2, what is the energies? How many energies you actually need? And if it's 2 energies or less, and it's a Stage 2, you have an extremely explosive card. And that's very much the theme of like a lot of this top 10 stuff that I'm going to go over, is what can come out and just surprise the hell out of your opponent. And Decidueye can do that. So the beauty of Decidueye, which is very crazy, I've never actually seen him kind of like a combo like this, but there's a 80 damage, 2 attack move, grass, that's fine. The real crazy thing about Decidueye is the fact that it uses 100 Pierce to Pain, does 100 damage to anything that has damage on it. So theory crafting, I mean, from the Spirit Tomb to Greninja, anything that can hit your bench and avoid your normal game is a massive buff and massive combo with this
And it's
Decidueye.
colorless, man.
And it's colorless, which means theoretically, if someone was like massive IQ, they could combo Decidueye on like a fire deck or something, just because you don't need grass energy to use its best move. And that's crazy. Grass has never had anything that could snipe the bench. Hitting 100 is a lot. I mean, you're talking about like Darkrai, for example. They don't have a lot of health. So if you can hit a Darkrai and ping it, or hit a Giratina, or hit anything that's in the bench, which was literally last meta, was like a slow pace. Let the bench just build up. You can't touch them. They'll come to you when they're ready. Decidueye with a rare candy, 2 energies, and something pinging the bench immediately is terrifying, because now it can heavily hit something that you're storing and investing all your energies into, and pretty much KOing it, if not getting it close to KO for Cyrus to finish. So it's crazy. It's still stage 2, so it's going to have its inconsistencies, and I do think the meta is going to try to develop to counter how good the stage 2 Rs. I'm seeing a little bit of like introduction of red card again, like just things that are going to slow your hand down to prevent the combos. But I mean, this thing has a lot going for it already, a lot of health and 2 energies or less, right? So
all right, let's hear number 9.
Okay, Incineroar EX. What makes this good? First of all, nothing has done burn well. We got burn, I think it was last set. Incineroar can go from its basic evolution to a rapid fire Incineroar, and it's immediately hitting you with 50 damage and ongoing damage, because burn hits you with plus 20, right? Before you can even flip out of it. So 180 health. So we're talking like Charizard health, but with an attack that can give you a residual damage, actually like causing chaos to anything that's in front of you. Like it's going to make you want to switch. It's going to make you want to flip out. And it's only 1 energy to do it. So that's already crazy in itself. And then you have this other move that Heatran had, which was, if you hit me, I hit you much harder. So Scar Charge Smash does an additional 60 damage. So that's 140.
That's kind of crazy.
Which even if you have any damage with Fire Fang, I mean 140 plus 50 plus probably continuous burn, I mean that's 190. That basically finishes anything. And you're talking about like this could be a Moltres combo. It's too explosive. Again, this is the theme, and I don't know if you like how many of the solo games you played through, but like I'm losing games to Incineroar, and it's like, what the hell is this? Like Charizard can never speed up this quick, and it's because you don't need Moltres to power it up that much. It can come in and just cause chaos. So it's good. This thing is really good. I'm interested to see if we get more fire kind of resources that are going to boost it up, like to help the fire engine. But for now, I mean, this is a great.
I think I wonder if it's almost beneficial to start looking into the regular TCG to kind of see what might be on the horizon, like item wise and stuff, or just like, like you said, with like burn and stuff, like what other things that we're missing or don't have in our purview, because we're just basically exclusively this. So could be good to kind of look into that, see like what even the meta is on that end, just to kind of see how strong some of these other decks could be in the future potentially.
That's a good point. I feel like there's a lot of like correlation to like power creep has been already happening with them, right?
Yeah.
So like we're getting like a taste of it.
I think it's gonna get there sooner rather than later.
Yeah, especially with the monthly release.
Seriously, man, it's crazy.
I know.
I don't know how much they could pick up that pace. I just would love for them to just give us like a good season, like a true like 3 months, just to calm shit down. But it is what it is, I suppose. All right, on to number 8.
Yes. Number 8 on the theme of EXs, Alolan Raichu.
I looked at that one.
Ye
I thought it was
So
fine. I thought it was fine. The 3 energy scared me away, I think.
it's fine, but I will say this, and again, this is one of those things where this is one of those Pokemon that may have actually been godly just one meta ago. You know, like this thing
Good
can
point.
one shot Gyarados, with 4 health, with 4 energies equipped, right?
True.
Because it's super effective. It can literally one shot Gyarados. So it's one of those things where like this might have been a little too late as far as the introduction of it. However, 3 colorless is always a dangerous thing.
Good point.
You know, it's one of those things where you don't need to run electric. Even the Pikachu that's before it, you don't need. It's still colorless. It's 2 colorless energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those Pokemon that could become like the new Mew EX, just depending on which Pokemon are really power energy hungry and which ones are going to really want more energy, versus like how the meta develops. Like, is the meta going to have lesser energy Pokemon really leading the front, or are we going to have more Gyarados and Giratinas? You know, things that have a lot of energy. Raichu can one shot all of them, right? So you can't completely count them out. Again, I still think one meta ago this would have been like an S tier Pokemon.
Are you saying at best though this is potentially like an anti-meta build?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is one of those things where like you just throw it on a team and you get really lucky through your bracket, like if you're in a tournament and you're not using an electric deck, like you're clearly using something else, but then Raichu comes through for you and then just like finishes a game. So there's potential in this. It's not an S tier. It's not like blowing, you know, my pants off or my socks off or whatever the fuck.
Blow my pants off.
blow my pants off.
Gonna have to make an edit there.
But yeah, it has potential. So I had to include it.
Nice. All right. On to number 7.
Yes. Number 7. Let's stay on the electric actually. There was I'm gonna do some like curveball picks, but I just think they have I just really like the way they're created. So let's go to probably the most bold one, maybe I would say, is Vikavolt. This is probably one of the more I don't know how you feel about this.
It caught my eye. I didn't put it on my initial list, but I definitely remember like this afternoon kind of going through everything, and I definitely paused on it.
Yeah.
But then I moved on because I was like, it could be situational. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item from their hand, and 70 damage. You know, decent HP. I think really the ultimate deciding factor was the fact that it was a stage 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was why I moved on.
So, but I'll give you my theory.
Okay.
I think this meta is going to be dominated, and this is like very clearly foreshadowing what the best item is.
Yeah.
This is going to be very much a rare candy dominant meta. And at this point, you know, I feel like theory crafting wise, I'm never thinking what is S tier because like things will just fall in and out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking what has the best chance to fight most things, right? And what can be like an anti-meta to almost what everyone's doing, right? Because that's how you're going to win more games is because you're going against what everyone just, you know, clicks on YouTube. These are the best cards and the best. This is my tier system, and then everyone's just going straight to the top of the tier list, and they're all just making the same team, right? I learned that very quickly, like running through Master Rank, is nobody used anything that wasn't the top 2 decks, because that's just what they do.
It is what it is.
Right? It is what it is. Like we got the meta guzzlers. You know who you are. So when I look at Vikavolt, yes, it doesn't do a lot of damage. Yes, it's a stage 2. However, when I look at this, I think, can this stop the rare candy madness that's on its way? And you know, similar to Meowscarada was a stage 2. Did 60 damage on the low, 130 on the high. The reason why it was good is because it was a one prize Pokemon, and it could cause a lot of chaos with all these EXs that were running around. One-shotting Darkrai, close to finishing Giratina. So when I look at Vikavolt, what I think is, okay, everyone's using rare candies. They're actually probably dropping a lot of their even middle evolution Pokemon, and they are just hoping that they get their basic, they get the rare candy, and they get that Charizard or whatever that final evolution is. So if I'm playing the game and I rare candy first and I turn into Vikavolt, wouldn't that mean that I can just keep attacking and keep stopping their rare candy evolution?
It could.
It could. Is it going to happen every time? Definitely not. But the fact that it's a one prize Pokemon, it has potential. It's only 2 energies to attack, so you're not really sacrificing or investing too much. This could be like when everybody looked at Pikachu EX from the last set, they were like, "Oh, this is great," but it sucks that you have to go, Pachirisu into like something else and then Pikachu EX, right? Like it would just be better if there was something in the middle. This could be something that could sit in the middle where they need to take out 2 single prize Pokemon and then a beefed up EX electric type. Like this could be the reason, and this could cause enough chaos and disruption that you'll never get your game plan going. Between dropping the items or preventing the items from happening, and then you hit them with the red card, and then you hit them with Mars, and they can never get their game plan in order. Disruption is always going to be a reason why people don't win, right? So again, is it going to be top tiered? I don't think so, but this will definitely surprise people and piss people off.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they picked this set to put this card in. So
yeah, exactly.
It makes sense to at least for it to be in consideration to counter stuff.
Exactly.
All right.
So a little bold, but fuck it,
bold. On to number 6.
Vikabold. All right. Other like kind of curveball, but I really think like it's kind of top heavy. Which ones are really good? I'm gonna say Oricorio Electric.
Oh, let's go! Let's go!
Yeah, boy, Pom Pom.
I was like, yo, what? When I was going through this afternoon, I was like, what? Why is it so good?
Dude, when I saw this, I was like, is this the end of 18 Trainer Articuno? Can you imagine? Articuno EX, Oricorio! You just can't do anything to me. I mean, listen, this is not going to counter the entire game.
It's funny though.
It's so funny, and I'm so happy the one with the pom poms is the one that got this ability because it's just so trolly looking. And I mean, come on, man! Like, this is like a blessing, dude. Like with how many people that just throw 2 EXs on a team and think they've created a deck, like, and they're like so proud. This thing is a big fuck you to everybody with the bad sportsmanship trash deck of 2 EXs or sometimes even 4 EXs. This is what we needed. This is the hero.
Dude, I mean, I've seen people run Palkia, just 2 Palkia. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Turn 1 Misty. Like, dude, what are you doing? The best thing I heard I saw on the internet was they just they referred to that as just bad sportsmanship. And I was like, that's the best way to put it. It really feels like you're just being like, you're being a dick. Like, you're not really playing the game. If you can do a turn 1 board cover and like you put no time or effort or thought into getting your cards out, like, it's just not really impressive.
It's exploiting a flaw.
It's exploiting, exactly. Yeah. So Oricorio is the big fuck you we were all looking for. Unfortunately, it's not gonna single-handedly take down, let's say, like a Darkrai Giratina, because you got Rocky Helmet, you got Darkrai pings from energy attaching, but this will definitely stop the 18 trainer fucks. And I can already see a million people conceding as soon as the game starts.
I mean, they knew it was going to be trolling. They even they couldn't just say Zap. They had to write Zap. like what? It's like unnecessarily stupid.
Yo, great job, developers. You heard us. You heard what we wanted. And yeah, man. Again,
I'm excited to see how that card performs.
Me too. Me too. I'm just hoping Electric is back, and like you got a team with Oreo Choreo pissing people off. You got Vikavolt stopping the hand distribution, and then you got like something in the back building. Like we need to see Electric back on the map. All right, let's move on.
Number 5.
They got some sauce. All right, number 5. This is good. At the end of the day, Psychic did get a lot of love this set, I would say. We all kind of just used to laugh at Mewtwo after that first set, and he was always bad after Darkrai, but Lunala EX has a lot of potential. Yes, it's a stage 2. However, this is like a very dramatic version of what Vaporeon does, but it can actually hold its own. It doesn't necessarily need to just be like Vaporeon, which is kind of like a sitting duck. If you don't want to ever attack with it, whereas Lunala, you could power up Giratinas. You can move energy from Giratina to Mewtwo and just have a constant blasting going on. This thing is good, or it can just feed energy to itself and hit you with 100, and most of the time two-shot something. So, is it God tier? No. But it has potential, and the more Psychic decks develop, I can see this being a staple in those decks.
All right. Fair enough. On to number 4.
Right outside the top 3 is Leaf Cape. Grass was already good. I feel like I didn't need more buffs. But now they have a better version of Cape, which is crazy. Like you can take Executor to 190 now. But even scarier, you can take Meowscarada to 170, which is fucking nuts. I think Meowscarada might be one of the best cards in the game, and I'm gonna just say that now because it has everything going for it. It can retrieve itself with its basic. It does not get affected by red. It has 2 energies to attack. It has Leaf Cape, so it can go to 170, so you're not one-shotting it ever. And now, as if it didn't need any more buffs with its 2 energy move, it now has Rare Candy. So you can skip that middle meaningless evolution, and you go from literally you can go, Spirigato, whatever the first evolution is.
Sprigatito, yeah.
Sprigatito. You can use your move, call in Meowscarada, and then second turn Rare Candy, Meowscarada, Leaf Cape, and just start fucking everything up. Like that is disgusting, and it did not need more health. It was already busted with Cape, but now it got an extra 10, which is going to get it out of specific damage rolls that would have taken it out normally. So huge buff for Meowscarada all in all, but this is going to be good for every grass type. As the games develop, if you want to be a monster, you can make Venusaur 200 health.
My god.
You can just want to be really a dick. You can really put this on certain things. Executor EX is always good. So yeah, just a great item and the buff that grass did not need. So so yeah.
All right, on to the top 3.
All right, top 3 in order. I will say the number 3 best card I would say is Guzma. Guzma's good. I was always thinking, I think they gave like Starly like an ability where it's like if you attack, you remove the item, right? The items ever since they've been introduced, they've been in every deck. They're just very centralizing and they're really good, for good reason. Guzma eliminates every single one of the cards you attach, which is freaking disgusting. Like it's one thing to just remove one and be like,
to each of your opponent's Pokemon.
To every single one. So now You talk about mind games, right? Like, just like let me give you a little like a play-by-play of chaos. You Guzma becomes, let's say, a staple now, right? And it might be hard to put it in every deck, but let's say Guzma is in a disruptive deck. You have a 4 EXs on the field, and you have, let's say, 6, 7 cards in your hand, right? You're thinking, fuck, man, I have 2 capes, I have 2 Rocky helmets. I want to put all my EXs. I want to suit up my EXs. So you have 7 cards in your hand. You have 4 of them being these cards, and you're like, but what if he has Guzma? Like, if I put all 4 of my cape and all these things down, he Guzmas me, and I completely waste my turn. I lose 4 very valuable cards that I will need. Right? Here's the play. Your opponent is afraid to just slap them on. What happens instead? Mars, red card. You lose everything that was in your hand because now you have a top heavy hand because you're afraid of Guzma.
You know what I actually just thought about too is like, what if you have the cape and you have just as much health as whatever the cape's giving you, and then you throw Guzma out there? It's like, do you die? I guess you die.
Holy shit, you're right. Whoa, yeah, it's like, dude, you're right.
Like, is that true? Or do
no,
you...
no, you're right. That's true because
or does it just take the top end out?
No, but think about it. Like, there's been so many times that I have like a Gyarados EX. I'm fighting a Charizard EX. It puts a cape on, and you're like, fuck. You know, it's like I'm gonna hit this thing. It's gonna have 20 health. You go Guzma to attack, or vice versa. You do Guzma, or you do your attack has 20 health left. It's staring at you, and instead of attacking, you literally just throw Guzma down and hit the next thing that comes in. Like, it doesn't matter when this card comes out. When it comes out, it takes away that breath of relief that somebody has when they have a cape on.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. I think, I mean, that's really the point. You don't want your opponent to settle in at all with really in any game.
Exactly.
You know, so this is just another disruptor to that.
Exactly. And I think it's
a good one.
It's a really good one. I think the more disruptors we have, the less people can just
of a streamlined meta.
Yeah, the less they can piggyback the streamlined meta and just do the same thing every time, right? Like, you have to have a means to make the extremely consistent decks. You know, example, Darkrai Giratina, because it was, again, so meta dominant last meta. You have to make them less consistent somehow, and them always putting a Rocky helmet on the front one with 2 capes on the back and just preparing their artillery for anything. You got to be able to stop it. You know, you have to be able to poke a hole at the ship. And cards like Guzma is exactly that. You know, it's very disruptive. So, good job, developers, again.
All right. Number two,
yeah, this thing is fucking really terrifying. Remember, that formula we talked about in the beginning. 2 energies or less as a stage 2 is terrifying, because it just requires you to put 1 energy on your little baby basic, and it's no big deal. Next turn, rare candy, Solgaleo. And what's even scarier is, like, you don't even need retreat items now. This thing, as soon as it hits the field, has the ability to come in and 120 anything you have. That is freaking busted.
Like, what was even the point of, like, this attack does 10 damage to itself? Like,
it's like,
who cares?
Yeah, literally, it's like, it has 180 health. Yeah. Like, this thing is gonna be just wailing 120s, and you can't even stop it, because as soon as you see that little baby basic Pokemon on the bench, you can never just play easy and be like, okay, he still has to evolve, he still has to get the energies on there. No, you see a basic of the Solgaleo on the bench, just know this might be your last turn, because next turn he's gonna come in and fuck you. So, yeah, dude. The saving grace here, I will say, I guess, if you had to say, like, what is the, what's gonna make this thing not disgusting and busted like Arceus was when it came out, is it is steel. Right? And you can't put any neutral energy on it, any colorless. It has to be steel. So major buff for steel decks. I would assume this is going to be with the Skarmory.
I was gonna say Skarmory makes sense on the deck.
Maybe Dialga, maybe Raichu, Alolan Raichu EX. You know, like you can get a little bit of a mixing thing going here, you know. But this is gonna be for sure the reason steel decks make a lot of noise, because this thing is fucking really good. Terrifying, actually.
Okay, I think we've buried the lead enough. Why don't we just say what we've been saying the whole time?
3, 2, 1. Iron Barb.
I actually wrote that down.
Yeah, Iron Barb was cool, but
yeah,
top 10, I wasn't sure. Yeah, no, it's very obvious. It's rare candy.
Yeah, it's rare candy.
rare candy, and it's really funny because, literally last set, I had a conversation with a friend, and we were like, dude, this meta sucks. Like, everyone just uses EXs, and like, Pokemon says they love evolutions, but they're freaking boning evolutions in this game. They're not giving them any chance. Then we get rare candy, which actually came from the TCG. This is actually something that was from the game.
Which initially is why I said that point before is looking into the TCG for future stuff, because I was like, oh, this is very much feeling like it's turning into the TCG, and maybe that's like kind of their whole point, is to
probably to suck
eventually
us in.
Indoctrinate.
Yeah.
Slowly,
we not give you
with
money.
The frogs in the boiling pot deal.
Yeah, literally, we're just all just waiting. Like, what's next? what's the next monthly set? But yeah, I don't know if you want to go to rare candy, like the actual.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The card, but that thing is good. I know, but yeah. So rare candy is definitely the reason that the game is going to be. It's officially sped the game up. It is completely S tier. This card is way better than everything else that came out in the set. Because it's making people are sitting here like, is Gengar EX viable now? Like, it's like, people are like bringing up the most random stage 2s and saying like, listen, like, they have a shot now. And it's true. Like, you really can't count anything out anymore. And the fact is, like, you can open up your deck space now. You don't need that second evolution twice. You can run some more items. Pokemon communication works better now with rare candy, because if you only have the single evolution and you have only one of the middle evolution and 2 of the final evolution, you use communications, you're going to very likely get the Pokemon that you want. You have less Pokemon in your deck. So Pokemon communications works extremely well, and you could literally go, because it's just an item, it's not a supporter card. You can go, basic Pokemon's out, communication to the thing that you need, and rare candy all in the same turn. So that is a freaking crazy combo. And again, like when we talked about Decidueye, Incineroar, Meowscarada, certain things are still going to want that time of building energies, like Charizard EX, like the original one. But, at the end of the day, these things that can attack you for 1 or 2 energies can get extremely explosive. And it's all because of this card. This card is disgusting, but in a good way. I think this is very refreshing. So I think it's nice to speed up the meta, and to have Oricorio in the back, freaking throwing a middle finger to all the EXs.
I mean, yeah, I think this is going to create variety. I guess to kind of bookend this kind of discussion, if the meta kind of shakes out where it's like you're seeing a ton of stuff out in competitive, would that like make you more incentivized to go back in and play, like to see more variety out there? Or do you actually, in like just a sense of preparedness, would you prefer like just less stuff in the meta, in the high end meta?
No, I would say the more stuff the better. I think when the game gets too top heavy, the game gets boring. Fair. Right. And a lot of people, like whether it was me or a lot of people like in the community that I've been, that I interact with or watch, they all kind of agree to where it's like, I'll just use this deck because I want to win, but like I'm not having fun right now. You know, it's like that was like the overall consensus of what the last meta was. Because again, it's like you're getting your whole board out turn one. That sucks. It's not really working for anything. Where Rare Candy is now creating like a flow of the game that did not exist. And it's not saying that it's replacing the other flow. The other flow is still going to be there. There's still going to be people out there running EXs only. But now we like a whole part of the game that was not even possible is now the door has been opened, right? So I would much rather that. Am I gonna stop playing ranked? No, I actually think I'm gonna like kind of just poke around ranked and theory craft and play fun decks because that's what the game is allowing now.
Just not rush to 1,000.
No, I'm not gonna rush the top 1,000. It's like, dude, I'm gonna make the nastiest Oricorio deck ever, you know, and I'm gonna just like piss off people on ladder. Like that's what fun to me is. And if I want to like take the game seriously, I'll obviously go into a tournament with like the best deck I can think of. But as far as like the grind of just running the same two teams, I think we can finally say that's over. So the game is a little more fun now. So I'm excited. It's gonna be good stuff.
Well, you definitely got me excited with all that passionate talk. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely like just to kind of connect my intrigue is like, I mean, even like, you know, I played Destiny the past, you know, year or so, and you know, there are top end meta stuff, but there is a bit more theory crafting there, and I now appreciate that I could do that more in this, as opposed to like rushing to a website and being like, what's everyone using?
Yeah,
you know. So again, the rare candy thing, just making, you know, even stuff you wouldn't necessarily think about a little more viable, makes Pokemon kind of feel like Pokemon again, I suppose. You know.
Wow. That was amazing. That was.
And on that bombshell.